Welcome back to the breakdown. With this episode, we are ranking our top 10 best wide receivers in the NFL. We have my co-host, myself, Drew Covington, and my co-host, Austin Johnson. And we also have the guest of the hour, Dinari Noland from the Youngbouls Podcast.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Yeah, two-parter on the way, but I think you'll like our list. It's a little different, but definitely, I think the top four will be the same for sure. As if you watch football, you know who's really one of the ones at the top. But tune in and we'll see what happens.
So obviously it's the off-season. Training camp is about to start, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
starts today.
Starts today.
Yeah.
And we've been on this. Well, we actually didn't do it on the pod. We did it on the radio, but we've already done our top 10 quarterback rankings. You know what I'm saying? Um, but we haven't done our wide receiver rankings. So let's do some wide receiver rankings. I think we should all go from 10 to 10 to 1, one by one individually. Explain the case for why the player is there. I think everyone will have the same top four. I wonder the order though. Um, but yeah, wide receiver rankings. Denard, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. All right.
Before you start, wait, before you start, you're an Eagles fan, right?
No,
Yes. Oh no 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 no.
Oh
You
wait,
were
no.
saying
You said you were a Saints fan.
yeah,
You said you
yeah.
were a Saints fan. You said Saints fan. So okay, then we have because I know a lot of Eagles fans. They're kind of skewed in the head with their ideals on football. So
Yeah, no, that's not me. That's not me. It's
all
not
right,
me.
good.
All right. So for number, I'm gonna say first, my list and everything like that is very much interchangeable. I mean, I feel like I've definitely left some people on this list that should be on this list, but I digress. Let me go ahead and go. All right. So for number 10, I got Cortland Sutton. Number 10, I got Cortland Sutton. 1,017 receiving yards last year, 124 total targets. You saw what him and Bo Nix were able to do when healthy and everything like that. Um, 7 touchdowns. He had a solid season for the Broncos. I feel like he's going to follow that up with another great year this year with the Broncos team that is primed to have a revenge season, especially after what happened in the championship game against New England with their backup. So I have Cortland Sutton at 10.
At my 10, ironically, we mentioned this fan base before. I have Devontae Smith. Um, I will say Cortland Sutton was like an honorable mention. He is someone that like for the past few years I've consistently been like, yo, this guy's like really fantastic as a number one, and I think him and Bo Nix are gonna continue to do good work. I do worry about Sean Payton as a coach always, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I think Devontae Smith is great. I think I don't know whether this season was his best season as a Eagle, top three season for him. But I think people forget that like he is fantastic. He has the greatest single wide receiver season in college history. He won the Heisman, of course, and I really think that the only reason why we don't see more explosive stats is because of the offensive infrastructure that the Eagles have, which has been a mess for the past 5 years, just objectively. And then two, he plays next to AJ Brown. AJ Brown, who may or may not be on my list, um, is a great wide receiver one to have, but Devontae is as well. Inherently, there are issues with Devontae. His size, that's the main thing. His size, but like he's a good route runner. Deep balls, he's got it. He has good hands as well. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes those hands can get a little brick like, but like he's still a great player. I'm excited to see what Smitty does this season with a new OC and as the number one target on his team. Obviously, there are inherent limitations because Jalen Hurts is your quarterback, but I'm still excited to see what he does. So he is my 10.
That's not crazy. He's in my honorable mentions.
There's
Actually, yeah. Who are your honorable mentions?
um T Higgins. Um,
Yeah.
T. Higgins was there. Jamison Williams was there.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton's there. Those are my three honorable mentions.
My honorable
Okay.
mentions, I had T. Higgins. I think I had Nico Collins. And if I remember my list, I'm trying to remember. Let's see. T. Higgins, Nico Collins. And because I didn't know if you guys wanted tight ends too. I put Trey McBride in my honorable mentions because I didn't know if y'all wanted like straight receivers or whatever. But I mean, yeah. But I put like a star next to his name. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, and J-Mo as my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
This might be a hot take for some of y'all, but I got Devontae Adams as my 10, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He might be old, but as a receiver,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
regardless, like I played receiver, so I can like see how he still gets open, and you could argue he's still definitely a top five at the lowest route runner in the league. Now, he might not be, will this carry over to next year, this coming year? I don't know. But based off of what he did last year, he had 14 touchdowns, I think 800 yards. He hooped last year. Now, a lot of them were like the little fade ball, so if you want to give him that tax or whatever, fine. But the key to this position is getting open. And even at his age, he gets open a lot. And I think if he didn't have Puka in his offense, like he would get the ball a lot more and his production would still be very high. So I got him number 10. That might be a hot take, but he's still nasty. And he terrorized my favorite team many times. So I have a lot of respect for him because I saw him firsthand a lot and he still got that juice.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, though, he did have a great season.
Austin, who's your team real quick? Who's your team?
I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Bro, like I watched him and Rodgers dice our shit like every year, bro.
Yeah. Oh man.
And like he was getting like 15 touchdowns a season, bro. So I have the utmost. There are certain people, especially now that he's not in the Packers. He's somebody I really have a lot of respect for, just because like he's been doing it for a really long time, and it's been that. But since you want to go in reverse order, so like I do my 9 and y'all do your 9.
Yeah.
All right, my 9, and this is like when he's not a diva, when he's not causing problems. At his peak, I have AJ Brown.
Bears.
And and I didn't have him initially in there, but I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I watched a podcast talking about Drake May, and it was the highest, he made a lot of high percentage throws, had a high completion percentage on deep passes. And that was a surprising thing to me because I was like, of course, the schedule, blah, blah, blah. They played some weak comp. But regardless, Drake had a really good season. And one thing that he did really well was throwing deep balls. One thing that AJ Brown does very well also is always winning deep. So I think even production aside, I think going forward, they will be a good combo. It's more of, can AJ Brown not be a dickhead like throughout the year. But production wise and talent wise, he's still a top 10 level talent. And especially when he's not making drama like last year, we still saw flashes. I just think he was ready to get out of Philly pretty much. But I think AJ Brown is still there. I mean, that first Super Bowl run in 2022.
Oh yeah.
You could definitely say he was a top 5 receiver in the league. I wouldn't say he's better than like Jets or anything like that, but it's still there. He's 28 or 29. Like, I think AJ Brown is still a top 10 receiver. It's just, can his head stay out of his ass? He's more than anything. Like, pretty much. The talent's there. He's just got to just worry about playing football.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. Going into my 9 is Drake London.
That's crazy.
Drake London because he got injured last year. In just 12 games, got 919 yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. He really is a solid player, and sometimes my lists are predictive, as in like this is where like a lot of times it plays into youth, and like this is where I think this player will be. Like for example, that's why Jared Goff was like kind of left off my top 10 list because guys like Jordan Love, Drake May, they're younger and they're almost as productive, just as productive as Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is like in his 30s. So I'm kind of looking at Drake London and being like, wait, like this, there is something here. In 2024 when he was fully healthy, we're talking about a guy who had over 1,200 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. He plays within a very, very, very volatile offensive scheme because he plays in Atlanta. And honestly, I don't know how this season will look for him because Michael Penix, Tua Tagovailoa. That's a pretty terrifying. And also Kevin Stefanski as well. Like that, it's a very volatile season to be like or system to be a part of. But I can't deny the talent that I see there. I can't deny the production that he has on paper. I think he is very, very, very good at the wide receiver position, and I think he is done.
And he's still wide receiver one
Oh my
because
God, yeah.
they gave him the contract, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
true,
not gonna
true,
pay him and George.
true.
Like this is probably their last year together, unless Jerry Jones pulls a Cincinnati and they just say we're gonna give our quarterback, and our two receivers, a
Over
hundred
five
million
hundred
a
million
year.
dollars.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
$500 too. So, but Dinari, you're 8.
On eight. Oh, I gotta find my jersey, but my eighth on my list, man. Chris Olave, that's my eighth. Chris Olave, 1,163 receiving yards last season, 9 touchdowns, 100 receptions, 156 total targets. Obviously, with Tyler Shuck coming in late in the season last year and everything like that, we were able to see Olave get back to being that explosive receiver that we saw at Ohio State and everything like that. At least glimpses of it, I would say. With this year, with the offense of the New Orleans Saints getting a makeover over the offseason and everything like that, with receiver like Jordan Tyson coming in, and you have ETN to take the pressure off of the offense, and with the run game, and revamped O-line with getting the guy from Buffalo. I forgot his name, but he's a very solid offensive lineman for Buffalo, and he's coming over here to New Orleans. I expect Olave to put up either similar numbers to this or even have a better season. But he had a great season last year. He redeemed himself for sure because, man, by the midway point last year, I was ready to take off, like burn the jersey, whatever. So, he was playing around. But I think that the season that he had and everything like that was great. That's why I got him at number 8. So yeah.
Yeah. Just as a heads up, Chris Olave is not on my list. But I've told Austin this. I am very scared of the Saints this year.
Yes, fear
Very
us.
scared of
Yes.
them. Um,
I love Olave. He's not on my list either, but that was definitely my favorite receiver out of that era with him, JSN, and Garrett Wilson. So, I'm not mad at that. If he has another season like he did last year, I'll put him there. Bro has gotten too many concussions. He's about one or two
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
It's gonna, it's like Tua. I'm not gonna lie. You need
yeah.
to wear that Guardian cap. It's bad drip, but my dog, please, I do not want to see him like that no more.
Yeah. I guess it is now time for my 8. And I'm just trying to find something. There it is. Awesome. Cool. My 8 is George Pickens. Um, in the 2024 season, he was 34th. He was ranked 34th in total EPA. When it came to wide receivers, he played 14 games. This year, in a year in which, actually we know what receivers are still playing football. George Pickens was third. He was third in EPA. We're talking about a guy who almost had 15,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He is so damn good, and I really think him and Dak is low key a blessing to like football as a whole. Like I look at George Pickens, and not only is he like a good route runner, and he has the speed and he has the physicality when needed, bro. When it comes to catching, like these really tough passes when there's an incredible amount of contact, or whether it's in the air or whether he's being hit in the air, somehow, some way, he comes down with it. He is so reliable. And don't get me wrong, like I do think still CeeDee Lamb is like wide receiver 1 here on this team, because we've seen CeeDee Lamb put up production over like a long period of time. This is the first season in which we watched George Pickens and be like, wait, this guy's like top 10. This guy's like one of the best in the league. I do want to see him be able to consistently do this. But man, oh man, he is so damn good. He is so good. And he has a quarterback, I think, that will maximize him. I think that's a large part about being a wide receiver. I told Austin this, but I think a wide receiver position is a very misunderstood position as a whole. Winning is a quarterback stat. That's what winning is. It's a quarterback and a team stat. Wide receivers aren't compensated for winning. They're not applauded for winning. They're applauded for their stats. Megatron never won anything, but he's one of the greatest to ever do it. That's how this is. And I think for that specific aspect of being a wide receiver, I think he has the quarterback to maximize that. Because Dak Prescott, as much as it's so fun to hate on the Cowboys, so fun. He is a gamer. He's been a gamer. He will throw the ball, whether it's into the hands of his receivers or the other team's cornerbacks. He will throw the ball. And I think that he's going to have another great season this year. I really do mess with George Pickens, and he's my 8.
That's a good pick. And I feel like, again, like as a receiver, just the catches that he made, even when he was at Georgia, you could tell the talent was already there. Because like there are just certain things you don't try on the field, like catching it backhanded, or like that one catch on the Browns when he was on the Steelers, where the ball is crossing his face and he's like in the air, stuff like that. Like you just can't teach, and that athleticism. So I'm not mad at that pick at all. George is nasty. Um, my guy, my 8 is another receiver from Birmingham, actually. Nico Collins, man. I have him at 8. And I have him there just because the last season where he's been fully healthy, and also Stroud has been fully healthy, he had 1,300 yards. And even the last 2 years, whether he was on IR in 2024, still put up almost 1,200 yards. If I'm not mistaken. Let me get my facts right real quick, because I have the tab up. In 2024, he had over 1,000 in only 12 games. And he was on IR, and he was on a great pace at the start of that. And then this year, he also had 1,100 as well. And CJ Stroud missed 5 games with a concussion. So getting the ball from Davis Mills is a lot different from getting the ball from CJ Stroud. Even though people like to dunk on CJ Stroud right now, he's definitely a better quarterback than Davis Mills. And I just see Nico Collins is getting basically 15 yards a catch the last 3 years, and there's not many DBs that can really cover him. And I think there's just a lot of factors that go into his production. He's 6'4", 225, and can run good routes. I don't really see a lot of people out here moving like that and also putting up that production as well. People love Mike Evans with his little 1,000-yard seasons, but this is like, I would say, kind of a new age Mike Evans in a way. But I like Nico Collins. I think if they can stay healthy, I think their O-line is better this year. And we've still seen good production from him 3 years in a row. I like Nico Collins at 8. It's just that both Stroud had a bad end to the year, and Nico also was hurt at the end of the year. I think if they can stay healthy, I think he would be stamped in the top 10. And I don't mind that people took him out. It's just, I think we can't forget the talent that he is.
Mm.
So it'd be on me then for the 7 too. My 7 is like Drew. I have George Pickens.
Yep.
George Pickens is somebody, like I said, you knew the talent was there. I mean, getting the ball from Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson are definitely a hindrance to your stats. And he still had over 1,000 in Pittsburgh, but then he really took off because CD, and I would know because he was on my fantasy team. CD also got hurt and was on IR for a cool minute. So George Pickens took off during that time, and you really got to see what he looked like with as a number one and with a quarterback who is just good, straight up a good quarterback. So George Pickens, he would stretch the field, make plays, and it didn't matter how it was done. He could go deep. He could take a slant to the crib. He could just straight up jump over you. And that was George Pickens was very fun to watch. Every year in his career, at minimum, he's averaging 15 yards a catch. So first down and a half. Like you don't just receivers like that don't just grow on trees. And this is year four, a big year for CD. I said CD, big year for George anyway, just because if I'm not mistaken, either they tagged him or he's going to be. This is a contract year regardless. So he's gonna even if he's hurt, he's gonna try and play in these games, and he's gonna really try and produce. And I think a full year with Dak and CD, the Cowboys are a threat for sure. I think they'll be back to being regular season demons again. I don't think they'll do anything in the playoffs, but Dak, CD, and George Pickens. That's a scary trio right there. I can't lie. As much as I hate giving the Cowboys props, they're cool players.
Yeah. My seven, who we've kind of already brought up, is AJ Brown. Simple enough. I think the situation in Philadelphia is a very complicated one. Long story short, I think he had years in which he could showcase how great he is, and I think he had years in which he wasn't able to. Whether that was because of Nick Sirianni, who I hate, whether that's because of the offensive coordinator there, or that's because of the how limited his quarterback can be. However, since 2022 up until this season, he was top 15 in EPA. We're talking about a guy who his entire career has only had one season under 1,000 yards, and it was a season in which he missed, what was it, 4 games. Yeah, even last year when he missed 4 games as well, he still got over 1,000. He is a really, really, really good wide receiver. I think the physicality is there. We've already brought it up. Deep ball threat, obviously there. If you guys want to watch how good A.J. Brown is, literally just watch any of his tape against the Commanders. like he baptizes the Commanders every time because he is that good. I think we are kind of forgetting, yes, is he a little bit of a diva? Sure. Cool. I personally don't care that much. I think we're kind of forgetting how good he is and how good he can be. We're talking about a guy who in 2022, when they went to the Super Bowl, was a top 5 receiver in the sport, in my opinion. We're talking about a guy who in 2023 still almost had 15,000 yards. He's been an All-Pro before. Yeah, I think he is great, and the thing is, he's playing next to Drake May now. Drake May, who, although people can slander and have a right to, playoff performance questionable. Playing against actual comp questionable. What I do know is that on paper, statistically, he's one of the best passers in the game. Statistically, the most efficient passer in the game this year. For him to have a target like that in A.J. Brown, knowing that he likes to throw deep, I think we're going to see a lot of cool. I hope that we're going to see a lot of cool production from AJ this year. So he is my 7.
All right, that leaves me. Yeah, great names. Obviously, for my 7, it was a toss-up because I have George Pickens on my list too. I felt like it would be disrespectful to put him behind this person. So my 7, I'd say Tet. Honestly, Panthers. Yeah, I would say Tet. Obviously, rookie of the year and everything like that. 7 touchdowns last year, 1,000 yards receiving, 122 total targets. And obviously with Bryce Young and everything last year, that whole connection was starting to form and everything like that. But I would be remiss to say that Ted didn't have a great season for his first year. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Ted and Bryce Young this year. Not too much, though, because I still want my Saints to have success, too. But still, that's still going to be a nice tandem that they have down in Carolina. And, yeah, so that's why I got Ted at my 7. Not proud of it, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Ted's great. Ted's amazing.
And then it goes to me, right? It goes to me for 6.
Yes.
All right, and then for my 6, I got George Pickens. I got George Pickens. You guys said a lot about George Pickens already and everything like that. I'm not going to say too much more, but obviously his effect in Dallas has been very huge. The ability for him to track balls, ability for him to get open, ability for him to just take over games at that receiver position, especially when CeeDee Lamb had the season that he had. He made games exciting for the Cowboys last year and almost got them to the playoffs because of his play and everything like that. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year with Dak Prescott, who we know, like Drew said, is going to throw the ball downfield. Is going to, throw the ball downfield and give his receivers chances to make plays. And yeah, that's why I got him at 6.
Fairs. Yeah, I think a lot of this section has been us singing the praises of George Pickens. So, George Pickens, if you watch this, you're really good at football.
Yeah.
My 6, is Nico Collins. Kind of already talked about him a little bit. Actually, the both of you have talked about him. I guess I'm just a little bit higher on him. I think he's great. I think this is kind of a similar situation to A.J. Brown, in which the offensive scheme hasn't necessarily, and also his health, hasn't allowed him to fully put up the stats that we'd want. But if you watch the games, the talent speaks for itself. He is a fantastic player. He is such a great, he's 6'4", 220, doing what he's doing is crazy. In the past 3 years, we're talking about 1,200 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards. A consistent wide receiver when on the field. I think the only question is being on the field. I do have more hope for that. This year he played 15 games, so I do have more hope for that. But he really, he's incredible. I think I'm a little bit higher on him. I think that we're going to have to see how CJ plays this year, to be honest with you. A lot of the Texans' success in general depends on this offense getting their shit together and CJ getting his shit together. But yeah, I think if this team is successful, Nico Collins will be one of the largest contributing factors.
For sure. And if Tank Dell comes back healthy,
oh yeah,
Tank Dell's a threat too, and that takes a lot of pressure off of Nico as well. They really didn't have unless I'm mistaken, they didn't really have a second threat to kind of stretch the offense like they did years past either. They had Tank, or even when they had Diggs, at least somebody else to focus on. I'm not really moved by Jaden Higgins or Hutchinson. I'm not gonna lie. They're good 4s and 5s, but if Nico is hurt and that's your receiver 1, load the box. We're good. But my 6 is CeeDee Lamb, bro. I still have him at number 6 for a couple reasons. One, we saw when his last full season, when Dak was fully healthy, that because every other year Dak usually gets hurt. That's his thing. But when they were both at the peak of their powers in 2023, CeeDee had almost 1,800 yards. And that's something that I can't forget. Yeah, 1749. That's even though it's 17 games now in the NFL season, that's one of the best seasons, definitely a top 20 receiver season ever. And so I know at the peak of his powers, CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 potential receiver, and you could argue that year he was top 3. I'm not going to say he's better than Chase or Jets. I would never say that. But even last year, he missed 4 or 5 games. He still had over 1,000 yards. I think only 1 year in his career he hasn't had over 1,000. He's a very consistent receiver. Yeah, only his rookie year he hasn't had over 1,000. And CD to me, like as a route runner, and also just he can stretch and attack everywhere on the field. If you want to go underneath, intermediate, deep routes, he can do that. I will say George Pickens is a better deep threat than him, but I think his absence helped George Pickens kind of emerge and really show his talents. I think if both of them are healthy, I think CD Lamb is still a fringe top five and definitely top 10 receiver. So I think he's got a lot of smut on his name recently. I think there's a video of Pac-Man Jones. He said he wasn't top 10, and that's where we have to relax a little bit. He said T. Higgins was better than CD Lamb. I can't go for that, bro.
Yeah, nah,
We
not at all.
we have to like really assess what we're watching. Like when Dak was at his peak and CD was at his peak,
Yeah.
it was an 1,800 yard season. And last time I checked, it's a small number of people who've done that. And
You're 5.
what have you? It's on me too.
Yeah, you're 5.
5. I have Amon Ra, even though he's a Lions fan.
Yeah.
He's my
Oh
5.
my gosh. I guess he's an honorable mention by default for me then. 'Cause
You forgot about him?
I forgot Amon-Ra completely. But he'd probably be where Nico Collins is. I think I just knocked out Devontae Smith. With respect.
Okay.
Respectfully.
Shout out Devontae. Put on for the skinny receiver, so that's no hate on a Heisman. Love Devontae Smith. But Amon Ra, for me, I've seen it firsthand, of course, because I'm a Bears fan, so I see him carve up their defense twice a year. But consistently since he's been in the league, he's been reliable. I think obviously as a receiver, the biggest thing you want to have is or be good at is catching the ball. And consistently he gets open. And only his rookie year he hadn't caught over 100 passes. The last 3 he's caught over 115. At a minimum, you're catching 115 passes. He had 1,500 in 2023, almost 13 in 2024, and last year he had 1,400. And every year he's scoring at least 10 touchdowns out of the last 3. That is a top 5 receiver, and that's just a model of consistency. And they made a home run pick with him, and I really don't have any like critiques on his game. He could be more of a deep threat, really, but that's not really his role because you have JMO. So JMO takes the top off the defense, and short and intermediate, you have Amon Ra getting open on any coverage. He can play outside, he can play inside. And that also is like kind of why I put certain people where they are on this list too. Being a good receiver is being able to play in multiple positions and still excel. And which is why CD is my number 6, because whether he's in the slot or outside, press or off, he can still get open. I feel the same way about Amon Ra. You don't want him as your outside, but like he can make it work. And definitely in the slot, he's going to kill your team. And 115 passes at a minimum and 1,300 yards a year as an average, that's low-key ridiculous. And
Yeah.
that's great stuff.
Yeah, I just want to say before I get to my 5, I am sorry I'm in Ross St. Brown. That's my bad, big bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you'd probably be where Nico Collins is at my 6. I think it's kind of crazy how consistently productive he is as a wide receiver. He's been top 5 in EPA for the past 3 years. Like, he really is, and also in the past 3 years, he's been all pro. He is that damn good. Yes, you can argue that I would argue that guys like CD are more talented and their highs are higher, right? But you're right. Amon-Ra St. Brown is in that borderline top 5 conversation just because he's consistently productive. And he'll consistently carve up your team. It's really that simple. So
You got to respect it.
Yeah, that is.
Because I agree with you. I think CD is more talented.
Yeah.
You have to respect the production of what he's done the last 3 years. And
And
CD hasn't done that.
consistent too. He's been so consistent.
Yeah. But my 5, before we get to the top 4, yeah, it's CeeDee Lamb. I mean, CeeDee Lamb don't get me wrong. I understand, like, I guess the hesitance with him as a player. Um, the hands sometimes just magically disappear. Like, objectively, sometimes he does have a little bit of a catching problem. However, again, just watch the games. The talent is there. He is so good. We're talking about a guy who, obviously, bro just talked about. 2023, when Dak was healthy, almost 15,000 yards. Hasn't had under 1,000-yard season since his rookie season. Was All-Pro 3 years back-to-back from 2022 to 2024. And also was injured a little bit this year. So he, and was also adjusting to another option on his team. So in terms of productions, that's like reasonable reasons as to why, but he was still just outside the top 15 in EPA per play. Yeah, like he is damn great at this position. They're he's not on the tier of the four because no one is on the tier of the four. With all due respect to the four, I think all the four guys that we're gonna name, assuming that we have the same four, are in conversation for being just the best. Period.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do think though, if you take their peak seasons, like if we had this conversation at the end of the 2023 season, I could argue he was at the bottom, but I could argue he was in that tier because JSN wasn't this good yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I do agree with you. I think he's just a step down as of right now, but he has a potential to be in that tier.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's my five. Five is CeeDee Lamb. Shout out to bro.
Okay. My five, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, Amon-Ra has had, over the past couple of seasons, he has been probably one of the most consistent receivers in the league, just off of production, what he does, what he brings to Detroit and everything like that. Last season, 14,001 receiving yards, 172 targets, 11 touchdowns on the season. He's one of four guys last season who had double-digit touchdowns.
Yep.
So, his impact is insane. 125 receptions, 172 total targets. Me personally, I don't really rock with Amon-Ra like that because of the whole, Trump celebration thing. When he did that against the Commanders, I don't really rock with him like that. But, just his play on the football field and everything like that, he's been a consistent receiver and a consistent guy to go to, season after season. And you can expect him to have big games and everything like that. So it's hard to ignore that. So that's why I got him at 5.
Now, awesome. So now we segue to the four. I really like just the four. I really find the interesting part about this is where you rank them. So Dinari, who is
it's interchangeable.
Yeah, it really is.
For sure. For sure.
Jamar Chase.
is your four?
At 4?
It's interchangeable.
Time. I want to hear it. Let's talk to us.
I was going off for last season.
Talk to us.
1,112 receiving yards. 8 touchdowns. Production continues to be consistent. Obviously, we know what Jamar Chase brings. But, with switching the quarterbacks and everything last year and everything with Joe Burrow coming back late in the season, that's why I had him at 4. If he was, if he had the same quarterback all season, obviously his production would be better, receiving yards, performance would be better and everything like that. But that's why I have him at 4 for this one right here. That's why.
Okay.
That's a clip for sure. I can't lie.
Okay.
I'm doing.
My 4, which might be a little bit of a surprise, is Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know a lot of people are probably gonna be like, why would you rank him that low when he's had one of the greatest individual wide receiver seasons of all time? And my response to that is because the three guys, either have had better highs. Well, honestly, yeah, they've honestly had better highs, and literally they've had a larger sample size. I will say though, for the praises of Jackson Smith and Jigba last season, I don't know what to really say. Like he led the league in receiving yards. He led the league in scrimmage yards per touch. He also led the league. Was second in total EPA among wide receivers. We're talking he led the league in target share. Like we're talking about a guy He was like I think top 5 in like catch rate as well, or catch percentage. He is incredible. The Emerald City route runner, he's that great. Like he really is that great. A lot of people, we've actually also just talked about this about like people had questions around him coming out of Ohio State. Everyone saw the talent was there, but like the injury concerns and things like that, that shit just doesn't exist at this level. Like he is fantastic. We're talking about a guy who honestly I don't think anybody could predict. I think a lot of people could have predicted that he was going to be a great wide receiver and that he was going to enter that top 5 range or enter the conversation of being the best in the league. But for it to happen as quickly as it's happened is crazy. His first season, he from 600 yards to 1,100 yards to almost 1,800 yards. That's insane. From a Pro Bowler to an All Pro and Offensive Player of the Year is insane. Again, one of the wide receiver seasons of all time, unironically. So, he's my 4.
And he's my 4 as well.
Mm.
I love, I'm glad you said that. JSN, he's not watching this, but I knew you was the one, boy. Knew you was the one. Because at Ohio State, and like, you gotta think too, like, his sophomore year, because his freshman year was the COVID year, and they still had Olave, Garrett Wilson, J-Mo was still even on the team then. So he was like, this was his freshman year. He wasn't playing like that. His 1 year where he actually played at Ohio State, he set the record for single season yards, bro.
Yeah.
At Ohio State. He played 2 games his junior year, and I don't even think he played the entire game.
He did.
And he still got drafted first round. You have to be one of them ones to do that, bro. So like off of 1 season of production to get drafted first round, I knew he was like that, of course. And he's someone as an Ohio State fan, that was someone I was following too when he was in high school. I think he had like 30 touchdowns his senior year or 40, something ridiculous in Texas. But he's been that. And I think my rationale for him being number 4 is the same as Drew. I just haven't seen multiple seasons of it where he's getting 1,800 yards level of production. And even like on a down year, like you have Jamar at 4, which, like we said, it's interchangeable for sure. And we base it off of different things. Like if we're basing it off of last year, Jackson definitely would be the number 1 receiver. But even on a down year for Jamar Chase, he had 1,400. So like, I want to see what it looks like next year, if he can even repeat that level. And that's why I have JSN at 4. I think definitely he had the best season out of any receiver for sure last year. Offensive Player of the Year was deserved. But I just want to see it more than once. But for sure, one of them won. But I'm glad he popped off like that. And now he got that contract. We got to get a good return on an investment for sure. And now we on my number 3. My number 3 is Puka, man. That Puka, he's somebody that I did not know who he was until he got drafted. But Puka, he's really surprised me these first couple years in the league. And he can kill you from a multitude of ways. Like, if you want to run him the ball, you can do that. Bubble screens, underneath, intermediate, even deep routes. I think Puka also has just straight up some of the best hands in the league. And he didn't even play every game this year. He only started 15, so he missed 1 for sure. He had 129 catches.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. He didn't even play the whole year, and he still had 1,700 yards. Last year in 2024 in 11 games, he had 990. And then his rookie year, he had 1,500. You have 1,500 as a rookie, like you're coming into the NFL as a 5th round pick, and you have 1,500 yards. That's something you just have to respect. And I feel like every game you see some type of like difficult catch from Puka where you're like, there are some plays where like, as a former athlete, you might say like, all right, I could have caught that. Like he's tripping. But there are plays and there are a lot of guys on this list like Jackson, George Pickens for sure, and Puka where you're like, I don't know if I could have made that catch. And Puka does that on a weekly basis. And through contact, Like the one that he had on the Panthers. I know you remember that, Drew. He fried y'all. And Puka is really one of them ones. And I had the pleasure of having him on my fantasy team last year. And I really got to watch like the production week by week. I'm like, this dude is really nasty. So like I will say people don't like to use fantasy, of course, as a reasons of why they rank certain people. But I use it as a way of like really tracking what they do on a week per week, on a game to game basis. And I watch Puka just torch everybody and score damn near every game too. Like he was Stafford, like really, he helped Stafford continue his career in LA. Like
Yes.
when Cooper Cup was starting to get hurt, they're like, okay, we have Puka. We don't know who he is, this fifth round pick from BYU, but he'll be all right. And he was. And he's deserving of whatever contract is coming his way next. Just hopefully he's cleans it up off the field. Don't want to see my dog in rehab because that might mess him up. Don't mess up that chicken. But great player, and he's my number three. I think he's gonna have another great season.
Yeah. He's also my number three. He might be an idiot, like truly, like he might be a dumbass.
Yeah,
But like he started 15 games last year. There's an argument that can be made. If he starts all 17, he might get 2,000.
facts.
He is that like he's and it's interesting because yeah, you're right. I watched both those Panthers games. The one that we won, yeah, yeah, at the crib, yeah. And then the one that we lost. But like I watched. I remember watching that playoff game. I said, "Yo, Puka is going to single handedly end our season." It's like pretty hilarious because like the like it's he's so and it's. I remember people during like near the end of the playoffs, the beginning of the playoffs. A lot of people talking about, "Oh yeah, hey man, if you just put Puka in man, he not doing anything. He only if you get him in zone, yeah, he'll fry you. But if you put him in man, yeah, he not doing." I said, "Yeah, we're not being serious. We're not being serious." Like he's also a guy who comes up in big games. He had a great game against every Seahawks game actually they played. He had a great game. We're talking about a guy who led the wide receivers in total EPA. I want everyone here, low key, to just guess the gap between Puka's EPA and Jackson Smith and Jacobs at EPA.
I'm just gonna take a guess. It's a very like sizable
It
gap.
is it is sizable.
I already know it is. I just saw another stat that shows why he's my number three, but you can just tell us, bro.
It's 20.
Oh,
His
gosh.
EPA is 20 more than Jackson Smith and Jacobs, bro. We're talking about a guy who in his rookie season had 15,000 yards. Who honestly, if CJ Stroud doesn't at the time have the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time, he runs away with offensive rookie of the year.
Uh,
Um, and same thing with JSN. If JSN doesn't have the greatest individual wide receiver season of all time, runs away with offensive player of the year. He
Anna,
is
we have to mention he was getting 107 yards a game,
yes,
and his career average right now is 95.
yes,
That
yes.
is the most ever in a career to start your first 3 years. 95 a game, more than Odell, more than Jets, more than Jerry Rice and Randy. That is OD.
He
Like
is.
that's something you just can't like you can't just forget about that.
He led the league in first downs receiving. Man, I think what him and Stafford or like have been able to do is like some really cool shit. Like I like it really like it makes me excited. Like it really is cool what they've been able to achieve. It honestly again, if they don't run into that Seattle team, they win the Super Bowl. I'm really excited for this Rams team in general because they're going to be the team to beat in the NFC. They're probably the team to beat in the entire league. But what Puka's doing, if he just stops being an idiot, I'm cool with that. Like I remember it was the regular season game in which the Seahawks lost, or no, they won, and Puka had like over 200 yards receiving. and I forgot what Puka did, but like Sean McVay wasn't happy with him.
Then he like go live.
Oh,
Yeah, he went live.
yeah, it was because
Yeah, in the locker
he was on Aiden Ross's stream and he did the
Oh
Yeah,
I,
that's
the
right.
hand thing. I was like,
yeah,
I don't even know what that means, but they
yeah,
were mad at him for that.
yeah, and like yeah, he went live talking about the refs or something like that. And I just thought to myself, I'm not gonna lie to you. How can you tell a guy like you can't really tell a guy that can give you 200 yards a game if they wanted to? Hey, don't do that. Cuz like that's how good he is. He is like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. You just let me do my thing and like let me go to work and like don't worry about anything else. Stop being an idiot. Yeah, Puka's my three. He's great.
Yeah, I guess this is like the whole like everybody's choosing Puka because that's my three too. Yeah, Puka when he's on the field and everything like that, arguably right now like one of the best receivers in the game. Again, I alluded to this earlier with Amon Ra, but he's one of the four receivers again who had like double digits touchdowns and everything like that this season. Um, he again 13.3 yards per reception, 1,700 yards receiving, 166 targets, which is nuts on its own. But that just shows just the impact he has on the field and everything like that. 129 receptions. It's just Puka is we've known what to expect with Puka as the seasons progress and as his career progresses. Um, and again, as someone who did not know anything about him before he got drafted, he's definitely been arguably one of the best, I would say, receiver turnouts from late round turnouts that we've had in the NFL in recent history. I would say for the receiver position, but obviously, just like Drew and like Austin have said, that off field stuff is the thing that we're worried about with him. I mean, that's the thing that we have to like lock in on. If you're Puka, should not be doing anything that should be, getting looked at by your teammates like, yo, like what are we doing, offside the field and everything like that. But yeah, I got Puka at 3.
Yeah.
I got Puka at 3. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's me. All right, and at two, I got JSN. I got JSN at 2. Obviously he had one of the best single season for receivers and everything last year. 15 point yards per reception, 10 touchdowns, 119 receptions. He's primed for another great season. I would say, do I think he can get higher than these numbers? It's very much doable. I think it's possible. And personally, as Austin alluded to too, he's one of my favorite receivers to come from Ohio State. It seemed like when he was at Ohio State and everything like that, anytime he threw the ball up to JSN, he was always making a play on it. He was always making a play. He was always making those insane catches and everything like that. And during his tenure at Ohio State, I feel like he was the most consistent. I felt like he was the most consistent receiver. Obviously, you have like a very solid receiver such as, from the room, such as like Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Olave even. But JSN, man, like those couple of seasons at Ohio State, he was on one. He was on one for sure. But yeah, I think that he's primed for another great season, so I got him at 2.
Yeah. Fair. I think JSN. I mean, we just talked about him. He's incredible. My 2, and do not worry, I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down from Austin. I do think that when this guy has adequate QB play, he is the best in not just the best like player or not the best wide receiver. I think he's in the conversation for being one of the best players in all of football. My number 2 is Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson in the 2022-2023 season, I don't think was just obviously, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in football. I think he's arguably the best player in all of football. In that season, in those 2 seasons, one of them in which he only played 10 games, he averaged 106 yards per game. In the 2023 season, in which he was injured, only played 10 games, started 9, still only, and this was without Kirk Cousins because that guy was injured that year as well, over 1,000 yards, an average of 107 yards per game. The year before that, 2022, in which he won Offensive Player of the Year, 1,800 yards, led the league in targets with 184, led the league in receptions with 128, led the league in first downs with 80 yards per game. Led Scrimmage yards per touch led the league in EPA in 2022 by the same margin that Puka did this year. He is incredible. I think that this year he had to play with 9. I think it low key is that simple. He had to play with JJ McCarthy. Pretty terrible situation to be in. But I think JJ is one of one. I think this year I just got to give it to the other guy who will be my number one because the production is there. The production is there, and you can argue that the talent is right next to JJ's, if not even more. But I know in my heart of hearts that I've seen JJ not just be the best wide receiver in football, I've seen him be the best player in all of football. So Justin Jefferson is my number 2.
We have the same 4 then. We have the same 4.
Yeah.
Because my number 2 is also Justin Jefferson, and you might have heard of him. It's this YouTuber who breaks down film named Brett Coleman, and so it was like I think last week or the week before. You know how they did the receiver ranking list, and they said that the lowest rank for Justin Jefferson going into this season was 5th in the league, and he was like, I don't even know if you could name 4 receivers or 4 or 5 receivers better than Justin Jefferson in the last 10 years, let alone right now. And that's very true. Besides AB and Julio Jones at the very end, because Calvin retired in 2015.
Yep.
Besides AB, besides Julio Jones, production-wise, and Jamar Chase, there's nobody that you could really argue has been better than him so far in his career. And he just, again, I'm a Bears fan, so I watch him torch my team twice a year. So I'm very familiar. And also, like, of course, that season at LSU in 2019 brought everybody, like, he came to everybody's attention. But from the start, 1,400, 1,600, 1,800, 10 games, like Drew said, 1,000 yards, and then 1,500 in 2024. And it's not like, well, he had Sam Darnold, so now we know Sam Darnold is raw, but like, well, he's good enough. But better than JJ McCarthy. And that is also sad just to see because JJ McCarthy, being from Illinois, JJ McCarthy was really raw in high school. Like, he won 2 state championships, I think, and then went to IMG. So the fact that now, like, he's a national meme for being ass is just hilarious because he was really like that. And it just kind of shows that there's really levels to obviously pro sports in general. But like Justin Jefferson, I don't know. It's a toss up between, of course, him and Chase, but he can really do everything on the field as well. He can go deep, intermediate, and also run short. And he's always going to get open. And that's really the main thing about receivers getting open. And also he has very good hands as well. So it's really a toss up between the top 2, but my number 1 is Jamar Chase. I think the way I factor it in is both as his skills as a receiver and also how the player is like put together basically. Like I'm comfortable with Jamar being my X receiver on the outside. I'm also comfortable with Jamar in the slot. I'm also comfortable with Jamar. I'm throwing him a screen and letting him run with the ball. Like it doesn't matter. I think he's a better deep threat than Jets. I think Jets is a better route runner than him. But with the ball in his hands, Jamar might take a slant to the crib. He could take a screen to the crib. You don't see that a lot from Justin Jefferson. More of his plays are still explosive for sure, and he gets where he needs to be. But at any point, you get the ball to Jamar Chase, that's like a running back running with the ball. And that's something that, like a guy that big, he's 6 foot, 205, and he runs a 4.3. I don't want to tackle that. Like, I don't. That's like hitting a boulder, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't want to do that. And then you also have the athleticism with it, like going deep. You saw from day one in the league when he got with Burrow and at LSU, the ball tracking is there. The
Yeah.
hands are there. And then nobody besides Steve Smith, nobody in the last 25, well, and Cooper Cup, besides Steve Smith and Cooper Cup, nobody in the last 25 years has had a triple crown. And he did that. Led the league in catches, touchdowns, and yards. Like that's not something that you can just like sneeze at. And like you said, Dinari, a down year with quarterbacks, but a down year was still 125 catches and 1,400
Yeah,
yards and 8 touchdowns.
yeah. That's
Like
exactly why
that's
the
not
top four is interchangeable. That's exactly why I said that.
for sure, for sure. And like even with Joe Burrow being hurt basically every other year, his career average per game is 88 yards a game. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's only the only reason why people don't acknowledge this as much is just because Justin Jefferson is almost getting 100 a game. And really would have if he had solid quarterback play the whole time. And it's funny that we're talking about the most consistent and like stable quarterback he had was Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
But that's my 10. I think definitely the top four are interchangeable. A lot of great receivers in the league, but I think Jamar Chase is just different. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I want to say before I sing Jamar Chase's praises, that one catch that JJ had against the Bills, in
Oh
which
yeah.
that is etched in my brain. I will
For
say
sure.
another catch that is also etched in my brain is one against is it was a regular season game. It's Jamar Chase is against the Kansas City Chiefs. I forgot whether this is 2022, but
Where
like
they're at where they're in Cincinnati
they're in Cincinnati.
and he like just caught it and then had the hand like
Yes.
just yeah.
Yeah.
I know some
That those they are those two guys for them to exist at the same time is so crazy. Like it really is. Like they are they're going to be regardless of whether they win a championship or not, whatever. That's not what makes wide receivers. They're going to be in a lot of uncomfortable conversations in a few years just because of how talented they are. But Jamar Chase is fantastic at football, man. He's my one. His 2024 season, it literally is like unfortunate that it happened next to the greatest rushing season of all time. Because if it wasn't, he would have won Offensive Player of the Year, or probably would have finished second in voting, maybe next to Derrick Henry. But he probably would have won. We're talking about a guy. Austin already said it. Triple Crown that year. Led the league in EPA. He literally has yet to have a season under 1,000 yards, regardless of injury. 15,000, 1,000, 1,200, 1,700, 1,400. We're talking about a guy who literally since he's gotten to the league has not been a Pro Bowler. Sorry, hasn't not been a Pro Bowler. Has always played at least a Pro Bowl level. And in the 5 years in which he's played, he has been an All-Pro. He is possibly the most consistently productive receiver in all of football while having the talent that makes him generational. Like, I think that's obviously, we talked about Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra has the production, but okay, cool. Compared to other receivers, the talent is lacking. Jamar has talent in spades. He is incredible. I saw that he got rated at 99 today on this year's Madden. I said, yeah, naturally, because I will say Josh Allen, ain't no way that he should be a dad.
Yeah.
But nah, he's incredible. I think he's the best in this league, and I just overall as a football fan, I'm just really excited to see him and JJ's trajectory. I do think that like the two are kind of unironically inseparable when it comes to conversations with each other because of what they did at LSU, being a part of possibly the greatest college football team of all time, and then going to this level and having some of the greatest seasons of all time. I think they're kind of inseparable in terms of conversations. They're going to, we're going to be in barbershops in a few years with kids talking about, oh yeah, JJ was this and Jamar was that, and I think it's just incredible that these two exist at the same time. But I do think right now Jamar Chase is the best receiver in football.
Yeah, I need to switch my I need to switch my forward because like you guys are making like great points and everything like that, and I'm gonna be having Jamar Chase at 4, which is now that I'm looking at this, it's kind of insane. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap Jamar Chase with JSN. I'm gonna put Jamar Chase at 2. I had at number 1 originally Justin Jefferson though.
Okay.
But yeah, I had number 1. I had Justin Jefferson. Obviously, JJ McCarthy, was the man behind center for the Vikings last season, but. I mean, there's nothing you can really do with that, but he still had 1,000 yards this season, and he still have been again like a constant, threat in the league. Obviously, him and Jamar Chase, they both on their respective teams have put up great numbers, put up like incredible numbers and everything like that, and they both have the ability to take over games. For my one and for like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson is definitely interchangeable. Austin said it before, Jamar Chase does a lot of things better than Justin Jefferson and vice versa. So it's a lot of similarity, but there's also like very, very small differences too. But yeah, I got Justin Jefferson as my number 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like just what you really prefer. I mean,
Yeah.
if you go peak for peak, Justin still has the best season out of the two. So it just like I don't know, like also for me, just as a fan and as a receiver, like watching Jamar like catch a deep ball that like and track it that goes over the middle of your face, like with the helmet on, catching passes like that are so difficult, and he makes that look easy, and it's like 10 out of 10. He's catching it no matter what, and like I feel like Jamar, like strictly from a watching perspective, I just like watching him play a little bit more than Jets. But both, it's really just who you pick, and there's really no wrong answer. And I agree, like what Drew said, especially them two, but I think the top 4 in general, there's going to be definitely some uncomfortable conversations in a couple of years because I don't see how, besides in the last 10 years, besides Calvin, Julio, Calvin didn't even play in the last 10 years, but AB as well. Nobody's had seasons like at this peak.
Yeah.
Not AJ Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. I love him, but he didn't do that either. Wherever else you want to say was in that time was still the top receiver in the league. Like once they came in, it was like that. It was okay. They're top 3 stamped already, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Knock on wood. Hopefully they don't get hurt. I hope Kyler Murray still sucks this year though, but I think I think Jets will. Yeah, but like worst case, I still think Jets is gonna have like 1,200. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
worst case, because I don't think you could get worse than what it was last year. Like last year was the first time he had under 80 yards a game. Like that's actually ridiculous. Like that. Okay, my stats go down a little bit, but like he still has the best start yardage wise, really ever to a career.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
just
sadly, Odell got hurt too. Now I'm thinking about it. Because Odell was on that trajectory. Like how Puka started, like Odell, I think I saw it yesterday or the day before. His first like 3 seasons, he was averaging like 95 to 97 yards a game.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Like these 4 guys are doing like shit that like again if they didn't exist at the same time, we're talking about guys who would just be racking up Offensive Player of the Year awards. Some of these guys would be doing that as a rookie. I really just can't wait till Jeremiah Smith enters this conversation. Um, because I do think he'll be great, and I'm very excited for him. I'm very excited. I think one of the funniest things next year will be the Jeremiah Smith sweepstakes with the worst teams in the league. And the tanking for Jeremiah Smith thing will be really funny. We'll see what the Browns do. But yeah, those are our top 10. Cool guys.
Cool guys, for sure. Well, Dinari, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was great talks. It felt like we were just at the barbershop just chopping it up, man. I appreciate you coming on, talking about Brian and talking about football. It was a good day, bro.
Happy to be here, man. Hopefully it's not the last time, I come on here. And definitely like invitation for you guys to come on to the Youngbouls podcast as well, man. Especially during the football season and stuff like that. Would love to have y'all on and everything. So yeah,
No, we should definitely do that during the football season at some point. Like a recap of what's going on. But this has been the breakdown. Once again, I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Drew Covington.
We appreciate you guys coming on and tune in till next week to see what we got going on next.